Hey everybody, Home/Henry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be discussing an extremely underrated aspect of Pokemon Go PvP, and that is the power of prediction. Prediction is anticipating what your opponent's going to do before they do it, and in quite a few games, getting an accurate prediction is the difference maker between winning the game in glorious fashion or the agony of defeat. Today, I'm going to be showcasing examples from several regional championships throughout the past several years and the past several metas, showcasing how predictions can win battlers' games. The first battle we'll be taking a look at is from the 2024 Charlotte Regional Championships, Buckeye Fitzy versus Dunebug. Now this was the Gligar meta. Gligar got buffs to Wing Attack and Dig got reworked, and for the entire competitive season, Gligar was top meta. The leads are set for game number 1, and it is a favorable lead for Buckeye Fitzy as he leads Azumarill into Whiscash. Now this matchup, Whiscash was able to make pretty close, but unfortunately it was not a winning matchup. Here we see a nice anticipation by Dunebug, anticipating exactly when Buckeye Fitzy was going to throw the move, getting the catch and a Psycho Cut sneak onto Cresselia. But Cresselia is now going to be answered with Lickitung. This is not an amazing spot to be in for Dunebug, but Dunebug's goal in that switch was not to win favorable alignment, but rather to save a ton of energy on the Whiscash, as Whiscash energy, taking a look across Buckeye Fitzy's team, will always be better in any other matchup that isn't going up against that Azumarill. Lickitung is going to connect with a Body Slam, the no shield by Dunebug. He knows that wouldn't be a particularly threatening attack. He is going to look to farm up and go for another Moonblast. Buckeye Fitzy, again with the no shield, understanding that this charge attack will not be enough to pick up the KO. So the Moonblast is going to land. Switch timer not yet up for Dunebug. Dunebug is just going to let this Cresselia get hit with the Body Slam. Body Slam will not knock out here. So Dune is going to aggressively pivot again. The switch clock not up for Buckeye Fitzy quite yet. Registeel getting a huge energy head start, and now Shadow Gligar hits the field. Dunebug throughout the course of this game has had switch advantage at no point. However, he set himself up in a potential position to win. And that is because he has energy loaded on the Whiscash. So his goal is to try and play out the 2-shield here, burn the switch timer, and then snipe with the Scald on the Whiscash. That is his win condition in this match. Dig is going to be shielded by the Registeel. Registeel is going to spam out these Zap Cannons. Both moves are single resisted, so as the Registeel, you may as well go for the move that has a chance to lower your opponent's attack. The Zap Cannon is going to be shielded. We do see that attack debuff come through. And now, Dig number 2 is reached by the Gligar. Gligar is going to grab the final shield from that Registeel. Switch clock available for Dune, but Buckeye has a shield to hide behind. Dune is going to barely outpace, get the Focus Blast, and now this is what he has played his entire game for. The combo play with the Whiscash. He switches, but Buckeye Fitzy perfectly predicts that that is Dune's win condition. He blind switches into the Azumarill without even seeing the switch into the Whiscash. If he waited to see that switch in, it was too late. He would have gotten KO'd. The Registeel would have been in a prime position to sweep with Gligar out of the way. But by Buckeye Fitzy making the perfect prediction, anticipating exactly what Dunebug's win condition was, he's now put himself in a position to win the game. All of Dunebug's stored energy on that Whiscash would be more valuable anywhere else, but unfortunately, it's stuck going up against the Azumarill, and since it was a simultaneous swap, there's no longer a desync in the switch timers for Dunebug to take advantage of. Mud Bomb is going to connect onto the Azumarill. Whiscash able to outpace and make it to Mud Bomb number 2. This will come very close to knocking out here. Can Azumarill hang on? Yes, Azumarill hangs on 1 HP, able to make the Ice Beam. And for Dunebug, we see that wince. He knows that by Buckeye Fitzy perfectly predicting his combo play, he now does not really have an opportunity to win this game. In comes Registeel. Registeel is going to get a farm down. Buckeye will get to send in the Gligar, and Dune now has to make the prediction of when will Buckeye throw. Buckeye has a lot of opportunities to throw since the Registeel is nowhere close to a move. He throws instantly, And Dune, all he can do is shake his head, as that was a pretty perfectly played game by Buckeye Fitzy. The dig lands, Gligar gets the wing attack farm down, and Cresselia is just much too low to make a charge attack. So even though Dunebug never had switch advantage throughout, he put himself in a position to win, but Buckeye Fitzy slammed the door on that win con with a blind switch into Azumarill to secure the win. The next match we'll be taking a look at is from the 2022 European International Championships. So this battle took place over 3 years ago. The meta was very different back then. Walrein and Trevenant were the top meta threats, and Shadow Nidoqueen was able to spam out Poison Fangs with lightning fast speed to be a top meta contender itself. The battlers, Inadequence on the right and Azure on the left. The leads are set, and it's not the lead Inadequence was hoping to see. He leads Registeel into Scrafty. We're going to see a save switch into Pelipper. Pelipper is going to be answered with Cresselia. Cresselia farming up quite a bit of energy here. Pelipper is going to look to strike first with a Hurricane. Hurricane will inflict some very solid damage. We see for Inadequence, his final Pokemon is going to be that Sableye. So Sableye definitely would have preferred to be aligned to the Cresselia, but Pelipper can still put up quite a fight, especially after landing that hard-hitting Hurricane. Grass Knot is going to connect. Pelipper going to be met with Grass Knot number 2. Inadequence, unfortunately, in a bit of a tricky position here because this is not quite a range where Weather Ball will knock out. So he will commit the shield, look to get in some extra wing attack damage, very close to doubling up on Weather Balls. Unfortunately, not quite able to get there. Weather Ball into Cresselia is going to be no shielded. That will not be enough to knock out. Unfortunately, the wing attack does not KO either, and Inadequence is forced to double shield and try and preserve this Pelipper at all costs. So Pelipper is able to pick up the KO, but paid a heavy price to do so, as now there is a 2-shield Scrafty, and that looks like it could easily run away with the game. Azure chooses to send in the Scrafty, as Nidoqueen would take super effective damage from Weather Ball. Weather Ball fired at the Scrafty. I believe he did not farm up to a Hurricane, so we will see a no shield from Azure. Azure, good counting there. We are going to see the Weather Ball reached. It's a CMP type power-up punch to the Weather Ball. Azure hoping that the power-up punch will be enough to knock out, but the Pelipper is able to stand strong, unable to be KO'd, and on very low HP, Inadequence gets to fire off another Weather Ball. Weather Ball is going to connect. He's forced to switch out into the Shadow Sableye. Shadow Sableye looking for a farm down, not able to get there, instead forced to throw the foul play. This Scrafty might be at 1 HP, and if it's 1 HP, this move would KO through the shield because a shielded charge attack does 1 hit point of damage. That forces Azure to let it go and trust in 2-shield Shadow Nidoqueen to close out this game. Shadow Sableye is going to fire off the foul play. One thing to keep in mind in this battle was this battle was before the fast move denial fix. So you'll notice in a lot of situations, battlers are not getting their fast move through when they should, and that's because the fix that they instituted was not available at this time. Earth Power is going to pick up the KO on the Sableye, and now Inadequence is in a very difficult position. Down energy and down a shield to a Shadow Nidoqueen. Earth Power will very comfortably 2-hit KO here, so Inadequence is going to need a perfect prediction if he wants to win this game. This game will all come down to when does the second Earth Power get thrown by Azure. Azure, Inadequence is well aware of when he gets the move, but the question is, does he throw it instantly or does he overfarm? So, Nidoqueen gets the move, Inadequence keeps farming, he predicts that he does 1 over, and he gets the prediction correct. Azure thought it would be too obvious to throw instantly, so he overfarms by 1, but that left only 1 time when that move could be thrown, because if he does 2 there, then the Registeel's actually able to outpace. So Azure tries to avoid the obvious play, but Inadequence perfectly predicts that that's what he would go for, and he's able to escape with a win. The next match we'll be taking a look at is from the 2025 Toronto Regional Championships, Adib Khan versus Sceptile Ice. Now this is a decisive Game 3, and these battles are already into Day 2 in the Top Cut, which means the winner moves even closer to getting to Grand Finals, whereas the loser will have to play double the amount of games if they want to get to Grands after all. Now this matchup is more neutral than one might care to admit, as Jumpluff can put up a fight versus Shadow Drapion. Adib is going to bank a move, safe switch into his own Drapion, and Sceptile decides to stay in and chip with an Aqua Tail before switching out. So not bringing out the Annihilape just yet, potentially reading that the Annihilape could have value in the back, but no, rebanking the energy, sending in the Annihilape, but in doing so, Sceptile is now very behind on energy. Annihilape is going to be hit with the crunch. That deals devastating damage, and Annihilape now gets outpaced. So he rebanked the move for later, but now, unfortunately, he's just going to let this go. Aqua Tail into Annihilape, picks up the knockout, and Sceptile loses switch advantage. And that is a problem, as there is still energy available on that Jumpluff, and he does not get the Shadow Claw down. He was banking on that Shadow Claw down. If he got the farm down, he would have been in a great position, but now he's down a shield and in a significant amount of trouble. The Drapion has an Aqua Tail, but it's very low. In comes the Jumpluff. He's going for the Ice Beam, hoping that Adib makes the prediction that it is the Hydro Cannon. Ice Beam into the Jumpluff, does get shielded, and that basically slams the door on any win con for Sceptile. His one win con if Adib went for the bait. So he no shields, and it's the Aerial Ace, and suddenly he's right back in this game. He's going to farm up, switch into the Drapion, but this actually isn't an attempt at a catch. He needs energy on the Drapion if he's going to deal with this Feraligatr later on, which he has not seen quite yet, but at this point, he is well aware of what the third must be. So Feraligatr hits the field of play, Sceptile full sending the crunch, Adib no shielding in case of a crunch debuff, because if the crunch debuffs, which it does, and you shield, then a future crunch will do more. Sceptile now going for the Aqua Tail, and if you're the Feraligatr and you want this energy, you're going to have to shield. Can Feraligatr get a farm down here? It looks like the answer is no. Feraligatr thought about it, but it looked like the Shadow Claws would not be enough to knock out. Hydro Cannon KOs the Drapion. Sceptile brings in his own Feraligatr, farms down Adib's, and Adib does not have energy banked on the Jumpluff. Ice Beam is reached. That's going to be massive overkill onto the Jumpluff. All seemed lost after Sceptile was unable to farm down that Drapion with Feraligatr, but by making the read, saying the only way I win this game is if Adib baited, and calling that bait, he brings himself right back into the game with that prediction, and he's able to clutch the win and advance further in the tournament. The next match we'll be taking a look at is from the 2025 Stuttgart Regional Championship, Inadequence versus Last Damnation. Now the lead at the start is very favorable for Inadequence, but watch what he does. He makes a play right at the start of this game that instantly sets himself up for success. The battlers are about to lock in, Dewgong versus Mandibuzz, and I'll pause the video here. Now this lead matchup is obviously very favorable for Inadequence, and considering that Mandibuzz is the lead and Mandibuzz is weak to Dewgong, Last Damnation should have two Pokemon in the back that beat Dewgong. Looking at Last Damnation's team, the only two options are Feraligatr and Dunsparce, and considering there's a Primeape on Inadequence's team of 6, it's unlikely Dunsparce will be the safe switch. So it's highly likely Shadow Feraligatr will be the safe switch. But the issue that happens is if Feraligatr has a 3-turn head start, also known as if Inadequence throws an Ice Shard, then Feraligatr wins the 2s for Shadow Marowak, and flipping switch flips the game. So watch what he does. He waits, he doesn't throw the Ice Shard, and the moment he sees Feraligatr, he switches in the Marowak. Now this seems like a simple play, but it has massive, massive repercussions on the rest of this match. By not throwing the Ice Shard and instead waiting, anticipating, knowing that this would be the line that Last Damnation was likely to run with a Mandibuzz lead, he now puts himself in a position where he can win switch. Last Damnation lets that Bone Club through because he realizes he doesn't have the energy advantage on Feraligatr that he needs to win the 2 shield. So he's just going to take shield advantage and try and sweep with a shield advantage Dunsparce. But the issue that he's going to have is that because switch advantage was not flipped, Dunsparce has a date with a very angry Primeape lurking in the back. Aerial Ace fired off by Last Damnation. Marowak hangs on. Marowak gets the Rock Slide. And for Last Damnation, he just has to put all of his hopes on the Dunsparce and hope that it's not going to be the Primeape. But that's exactly what Inadequence has in the back. In comes the Primeape, and Primeape is here to completely shut down Dunsparce's hopes and dreams. Dunsparce is going to go for the Drill Run. Drill Run no shielded by the Primeape, and now Primeape can look to apply some damage. It's a very safe Rage Fist here. Last Damnation is going to call that it's the Rage Fist, but for Inadequence, a no-shielded Rage Fist is fine, as he just needs to buff up the fast move damage, because that's the one thing that Last Damnation is unable to shield. He is not able to shield fast moves. Inadequence now going to burn the final shield on the Primeape, and Primeape, just purely off fast move damage alone, is putting in a tremendous amount of damage against this Dunsparce, and he is not even going to throw a move. He's just saying, I can Ice Shard down with the Dugong, and there's no way that the Dugong can lose at this point in time. So he brings in the Dugong. Last Damnation realizes he can't get a move. He makes the foul play, but it's just too little too late. And that game looks like a very simple hard counter game. But if Inadequence had thrown that Ice Shard, Feraligatr flips switch and Last Damnation wins. But a perfect prediction by Inadequence turns what could have been a very scary game into a dominant win. We now go back to the 2025 Toronto Regional Championships, and this is the winners finals. Sceptile Ice versus Elam. Shadow Drapion versus Azumarill. This is a good lead for Elam and a negative lead for Sceptile. Sceptile throws the crunch right before an Ice Beam is reached on the Azumarill. Now, I'm actually going to pause the footage right here. At a high level, battlers love to throw on correct charge attack timing. In a 3 vs 2 situation, like for Elam right now, the correct timing is to throw on odds. 1, 3, 5, 7. And anytime any charge move is thrown, you can reset mentally back to 0. So now for Elam, throwing on good charge attack timing would be to throw after 1, 3, 5, or 7 bubbles. So as we unfreeze, Elam is going to throw 1 and a Play Rough. But Sceptile predicts this perfectly and catches a Play Rough onto Clodsire. Not only can Clodsire only realistically be answered by the Corsola, but that wastes a lot of energy for Elam. And if even one charge attack is wasted in the Azumarill Drapion matchup, then, unfortunately for the Azumarill, Drapion can effortlessly flip that matchup going forward. Corsola is going to be hit with an Earthquake. Earthquake going to deal some solid chip damage as Corsola continues to farm closer and closer to 100 energy. Throwing at 80 here, Nightshade no shielded by Sceptile. Sceptile can threaten a potential other Earthquake, and Elam actually decides to not throw the Nightshade, as Nightshade wouldn't have quite knocked out there. I believe the Clodsire could have held on with a fraction of HP and just take the damage. Sceptile is now just going to let the Clodsire go because he wants farm on Shadow Feraligatr. Elam going for an undercharge here. He wants extra farm. It does pick up the KO. There's an aggressive switch to the Feraligatr. Elam predicts what's in back, and he's going to pivot out into the Shadow Annihilape. Sorry, the regular Annihilape, not a Shadow Annihilape. Now, regular Annihilape can win the 2 shield here by fully farming down while spamming out Rage Fist. But that honestly works in Sceptile's favor in this moment, because to do so, Annihilape has to give up both shields. And the moment Annihilape doesn't have shields, then the Drapion will be very threatening. So he gets to fire off the Hydro Cannon, and Elam knows he's in a very tricky position. He is going to commit the shield, but the switch clock is up, so he can send in the Drapion, go for the Aqua Tail, and unfortunately for Elam, he has no energy available on the Azumarill. This would be a very different game if Azumarill still had that play rough. But Sceptile, perfectly predicting that Elam would throw one and the charge attack, getting that catch, wasting that energy, now completely flips the game on its head and puts Elam on the defensive and now in a position where he has no ability to win. Ice Beam shielded up by the Drapion, and from this health range, Sceptile nods as he knows this game is over. In comes Galarian Corsola. Corsola instantly met with a crunch, and an Aqua Tail would have been enough to KO, but a crunch guarantees it, and there's just no ability for the Azumarill to make another charge attack. Drapion farms down, and Sceptile takes the 2-1 lead in the winners finals. All in all, at a high level in Pokemon Go PvP, I think that being able to accurately predict your opponent's next move and therefore punish them with a counterplay is a very valuable skill. We've seen throughout the course of these battles that potentially could have gone either way, where the win condition was getting a call right. In the Buckeye Fitzy Dune game, Buckeye Fitzy blind switching Azumarill into a Registeel, saying Dune's win con is that he switches and snipes. If Dune stays in there, Buckeye Fitzy just loses. He's throwing away his Azumarill to a Registeel, but he understands the situation, gets the call correct, and that is what allows him to win the game. And in the Inadequance Azure matchup, Inadequance over farming by 1, anticipating that switching right when Azure got the move would be too obvious, getting the call correct. And the few matches we did see with Sceptile, where Sceptile was able to make a game-winning bait call, understanding that, unfortunately, if I shield an Aerial Ace, I lose. Or if I shield an Energy Ball, I lose. The only way that I can win this game is by no shielding an Aerial Ace, so he commits to the win con, that prediction pays off, and from there, he's able to clutch victory. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is More Slice Henry, my second channel. If you enjoy watching educational content like this, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.